Yes, I'm rocking my damn vest. Safety first. Alrighty, so we are at our O2, being loaded. They're jamming it in there hard because this truck is shaking all over the place. Old Blue, I mean, I guess I'm gonna call her Blue. She's an old blue hair, man. Old Blue, although she's young, is taking a lot of freight today. She's got 2 loads. We took a small load up the street. Now we're getting a big load here. They're talking about, ooh, are we gonna fit it all on there? It's like, yeah, man, you got freaking 5 pallets and you're gonna put 17 on? Come on, you can get all that on there. Turn the stuff in sideways and throw it in there. So anyways, yeah. We're getting loaded. We're going to be heading to our 90 in Kinloch, Missouri, which doesn't deliver until the 1st, which is, we'll have it there tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night. 1, 2, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow night we'll say, before tomorrow night, whatever. So, anyways, I had a phone call from my fleet manager because I sent him a Qualcomm message, had a question about trailer seals and whatnot. And he elected to call me, and we had a really long talk, which was really good. Because number one, I found out him typing in caps doesn't mean he's yelling. It means his pinky accidentally hit the cap button. He's an older gentleman, even though he sounds like he's about 20 on the phone. He says that, yeah, he never knew nothing about caps meant anything until one day a gal in the office that he sent a letter to or note to came up and said, "Why are you yelling at me?" And he's like, "What the hell do you mean I'm yelling at you? I didn't even talk to you." And she explained to him about the caps thing. So he tries to, when he accidentally does caps, he tries to erase it and rewrite it. But anyways, he sent it, no big deal. He didn't catch on to my reply when I said "really" in caps, and then said what I was going to say. It meant nothing to him, which is fine. Okay, I'm glad to know that, because now I know he's not pissed off, yelling, screaming, hollering. So anyways, what he called for is he talked about that seal issue, and then he was talking about the new rules at Freight as far as the training times go. And it kind of is why I thought it was. Prime is a good school, a good company to work for, and they've really tightened down on their rules as far as they don't want to put just any heartbeat in a truck. Okay, so they figure Freight's a little slow right now, and let's add some miles to the trainees, which will get them more experience, better to get them ready for getting out there, which is better for the company because there's going to be less accidents and things like that. And they have time to do it because Freight's slow. It's not like back when it was so booming they just wanted to put any live person behind the seat. But anyways, that's nor here nor there nor everywhere. Anybody knows where I can get a set of window curtains for this truck that are less than $400 or even less than $300? I'd like to know, just in case you know somebody that's got one of these. A used set I'd buy as long as they were priced right. A new set's cost about I found anywhere from upper $200s to $400 from the Freightliner dealership down by in Springfield by Prime there. Might have to just throw $400 in here because I'm baking, man. The sun coming through this thing when we're stopped. Anyways, back on track. What was I talking about? I completely forgot. Squirrel. Anyways, yeah, he was talking, and he was saying how when Prime does something, a lot of companies will follow suit. So I'm going to be curious to see if Swift, Knight, CR England, if they start upping their training time. And then he was telling him about how you used to have to buy pallets every time you went to a shipper, and how Prime finally said, no, man, we're not doing that anymore, and they quit doing business with customers, which was kind of cool. But anyways, that's not interesting until that rule was lifted. But it's kind of interesting finding history of Prime, how they changed. They've changed things in the industry, which you would think they would. They're a big company. But we talked about all this waiting and whatnot, and but anyways, I told him about why do we have so many days to get to that one, man? We're a team truck. We're going to be there tomorrow. And of course, me, foot, enter mouth. Well, did you read the message I sent you yesterday? And of course, at that moment, I'm scrambling, trying to, where's this message? I can't get it on my phone because I'm on there. Oh, damn. Yeah, I read it, and I remember something about the 90, but I blew it. What's up? Well, go back and read the message. It says, we can move this appointment up. Once you're loaded, give me an ETA to the 90. Damn it. Damn it. So I kind of just giggled it, and okay, yeah, you're right, I remember that. But another funny thing, when he first called me and we were talking about this seal thing, he's explaining this to me, and he can kind of he's kind of waiting for me to say something that he knows it clicked and I understand what he's talking about. So he's talking, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I understand. I'm not saying it, but I was like, okay, but he's still talking about it and explaining this, explaining that, and finally I go, yeah, no, I get it. Oh, good, a light bulb went off. Which was good, because that brought up another thing, and I started talking about how sometimes he speaks in code, and I don't understand what the hell he's trying to say. And, I let him know that, hey, man, you got to understand, sometimes I need it to be spelled out for me. This is important stuff, moving freight, and I don't want to take a guess at something. So, yeah, sometimes you need to spell it out, or I'm going to ask you questions because I don't quite understand what you're saying. But the good thing with that is, once again, me and my fleet manager talked. We understand each other. I'm not going to get into that, but we understand each other, and it makes me feel good because, it's always a good feeling to feel like your fleet manager likes working with you, or kind of understands you more and you understand them. Understands that, hey, you know what, David's got kind of a memory issue, or, little problem processing things, so I need to say things differently to him. Which I've all told you guys, the medication I take kind of makes me it makes me, I have to really think. I mean, you see my live videos when I'm reading stuff, I'm like trying to process it, and then it clicks in. That's not because I'm mental, it's because I'm on medication that does that to my brain. Now, it doesn't affect my everyday functioning and, knowing how to do paperwork or anything like that, but it does affect when someone tells me something, for me to remember, like, go to door 5. I have to write it down, otherwise by the time I get to the truck, what door did they say? Type deal. The other thing he mentioned, and I'm totally going to start doing this because this is a great idea and it's really simple to do. I already told John, I want you to do this, and it's a good idea. My fleet manager's been doing this for 20 years. It sounds like he started with Prime 20 years ago as a driver. Well, he made mention, cover yourself. And he said, hey, when you get to a shipper and 99% of them tell you take the seal off, throw it in the truck, and back in, when they tell you that, he goes, just say, okay, what's your name? John. Okay. And he goes, just write John on the bill. He goes, you don't have to say what it's for, just put John on the bill somewhere. And he goes, that way in a week, 2 weeks, a month, I call you up and say, hey, we've got a claim here. They're saying the back door seal was broke, so-and-so, da-da-da-da. He goes, you'll know that you write the name on the invoice, and you'll say, hey, go look at the invoice. There's a name in the right top corner. That's who told me to take the seal off. He goes, that may not help us at all, but we at least, as far as that person may not work there. They say, no, the guy's not, who knows? But he says, at least you've got one more step in protecting, and you do that. So, okay, well, he's got their name, and, we still can't win that case, but at least our driver did everything he can. So how hard is it to just say, okay, you want me to back into the door, you want me to break the seal, open the doors and back in? Okay, what's your name, by the way? Mary. Okay, boom, Mary on the invoice. How hard is that? That's not hard at all. And I can understand, from owning a business, I used to do all kinds of things like that to protect myself. I used to, when I'd go and I'd have to work on a dishwasher and take it out of the counter, and their cabinets falling apart or the floors built up in front of it. Hey, you know what? I'm not responsible for this, this. Sign here. You don't want to sign here? Okay, I ain't touching it. You have a wonderful day, or, you guys take it out, call me, and I'll come fix it. Because I don't want to pay for no floors or cabinets or anything because the thing's been jammed in there, or the cabinet's falling apart from water damage or whatever. The other thing he said, which makes sense, is high value loads. He says, they want you to cut the seal off, and yeah, I've always was cutting the seals off when I was with my trainer, but he goes, no, tell them to come out and cut the seal off themselves and then sign for it. If they don't want to do it and they have you cut the seal off, have them sign that they had you cut the seal off, because you don't know how much money's sitting in the back of that trailer. We don't want to, if they bring up something, you're covered. And again, what's the chance of any of this going down? Because there's a few shippers that say all over the place, do not take seal off, do not take seal off. And those ones, obviously, you don't do it. But all the other ones always say, oh yeah, just pull the seal off, just do this, just do that. But all it takes is that one time, and Prime's going to lose thousands of dollars. And you know what? We all have skin in the game. So they lose thousands of dollars. It's going to trickle effect, rolls downhill. Eventually, it's going to get to me. Even if, even if I was saying, even if getting their name didn't help, at least Prime's going to go, oh, look, he got the name of the person who told him to take that seal off. At least the driver is trying to do everything he can. It's just like this load over here. We drove it 2 miles, and we ended up having to set a big, tall pallet right in the center of the trailer so I can block load locks on both sides and then load locks behind it. So when we came all around this corner and stuff, we didn't lose this pallet side to side. Chances of anything happening were probably this. But if something did happen, now I have to say, yeah, I drove from over there 3, 4, whatever miles it was, 5 miles, and the pellet fell over because I didn't put load locks because I was coming over here and I knew we were going to just load. That's not going to fly, right? They're going to be like, well, you're a trained professional driver. Use your load locks. Which I know a lot of guys don't use load locks. I know a few guys, now I'll only use them if the shipper tells me to. Well, my fleet manager, and it could be the fact that he was a driver and he's probably had issues with all of this stuff, or has dealt with it as a dispatcher. Early on, he would ask randomly, did you put load locks in? No. How come? Well, because they didn't tell me to. Well, that's no excuse. He goes, you need to put load locks in. He goes, you need to protect that load. Makes sense. I mean, it makes sense, right? Especially produce loads, because these boxes can be wet and saggy and everything else. But beer loads, they take pictures of your load locks in there to make sure they're in there. There's cameras that you have to leave your doors open or open your doors, and the cameras record that you have your load locks on, because it's a big problem. But anyways, guys, I'm rambling too much now. I know you enjoy my vest. Like, comment, subscribe. Ring that bell and you'll get notifications about new videos. And, feel free to ask me questions. If you need anything, have any questions or whatnot, you can't get the answer in a comment, let me know. I'll shoot you my email. I'll shoot you my phone number, whatever you need, man. If you guys need some help with anything and I can help you, I'm more than happy to help you. Have a good one. Let me find the button. Oh, it's on this side. No, that's the camera.